Bummer, the holidays are over. No more presents. But yay, you have your freedom again. The new year is full of ups and downs, but however you're feeling, you can always be happy with Prime Video. Catch the new season of Reacher. Rent or buy new releases like Taylor Swift's The Eras Tour Extended Version. You can add on hundreds of streamers. One app, one password. Prime Video. Find your happy place. Restrictions apply. Prime membership not required to rent or buy. See Amazon.com/Amazon Prime for details.
Introducing Wondersuite from Bluehost.com, the tool that makes WordPress wonderful for everyone. Website creation is hard. Was hard, but not anymore, thanks to Wondersuite from Bluehost. Answer a few questions about your business and goals, and the Wondersuite tools will automatically lay out your WordPress website or store in minutes. Seriously. From there, you can customize your design, pick your brand colors, and add blocks. No custom theme or coding required. You'll get content suggestions that you can keep or revise. And with Yoast SEO built in, we automatically help you get found in search engines. From step-by-step guidance to suggested plugins to an AI-powered help bot, our built-in tools make
Educate, empower, enable, impact. Thank you for tuning in to That Will Never Work podcast, where we share inspiring information and personal experiences related to business and the entrepreneurial journey from those who are leaders in their respective field. Now, here's your host, author and business coach, Maurice.
Thank you very much for tuning in today. I have a wonderful show for you today. I have a gentleman who is a U.S. Army veteran, life coach, and trainer that has helped over 500 clients and 50 companies go from just surviving to thriving through his coaching modalities and marketing efforts. He was awarded the Soldier of the Year for his battalion 3 times and received numerous awards for PT, and took his leadership skills, certifications, and life experiences to help people take control of their mind and body so they can thrive and not just survive. I thank y'all very much for tuning in today, and I present to you today Mr. Derick Johnson. Derick, thank you very much for coming on today.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure being here, Maurice.
Cool, man. So one of the things I would like to ask you, what is something that motivates you or inspires you?
Great question. So I like to think of family tree as in both sides of the family. So my mother, she's German. So my Oma, she actually survived the Holocaust, and she was hiding in the attic. So I know that's we're going right into it, but with that being said, is I love looking at family trees and seeing what family members endured, what they survived and overcame, and being able to continue the family name to make a positive impact. So that's one example. And then on my father's side, my father is African American. He's from Starkville, Mississippi. He's a farm boy. So my great-great-grandpa, he dealt with a lot of things, as we all know, in Mississippi. So a lot of things on both ends of the family, and just learning the history of what all they were capable of and what they endured. So it humbles me in the present moment whenever I am stressed or I don't feel like doing something. I think of either side of the family and say, you know what, they had to go through literal hell, and I don't want to do this with work or traffic, whatever normal basic thing it is. It's usually something small, and it really humbles me and brings me present to appreciate what they went through. And for me to just take a moment to breathe, be thankful and grateful, and then realize that people do depend on us. So that's a huge thing that does motivate me, is like the family tree and family legacy, but more so knowing that they went through worse things for me to be able to have a much better life. So let's continue that and help impact others to create a positive ripple effect. So I always look at things from a bird's eye view like that. So like when the emotion happens, whatever it is, stress, anxiety, anger, I pause, breathe, zoom out for a second, say, you know what? It could be worse. What am I actually complaining about? Slow Wi-Fi, traffic, my apps are pausing and glitching, the video won't upload. Like, it's usually just small stuff that just annoys us. And then I'm like, you know what? It could be way worse. Let me chill out.
So you know, you're talking about legacy, right? And sometimes that word legacy, it can trip us up sometimes, right? Because some people are trying to live up to whatever that might be, that image might be, that whatever the last name might be. And so how would you encourage someone to use that as because that could be painful, right?
Yes.
You know, how could people use something like that to motivate them to get above that and not allow it to hold them back, if you will? What tips could you give somebody?
For sure. So I would challenge that individual to focus on the who. So who is Maurice? Who is Michelle? Who is Brandon? Who at their core, when nobody's watching and when they're stressed out, what do they do in those moments? Because that's truly who they are and that's their real character. So if they can zoom out and say, you know what, maybe they don't like one side of their family or get along with them or the other side, like not everyone's close to family,
right?
But they can say, who am I? What do I stand for? What is my passion? What do I feel that God, universe, whatever that individual believes in, what do I feel that he has me here for? Is it for this career path? Is it to speak? Is it to help children? Is it to help veterans? Whatever that thing is, but really figuring out who that person is at their core, what they truly feel like they're here for, and then chasing their passion. And it's being selfless. So for a moment, we're being selfish to figure out who they are. But then once they're confident within themselves, they can help spread that energy more and they can show up as their authentic self. One of my mentors, he has a quote where he says, I'm not for everyone and neither are you. It always stood out to me. And also to remind that individual that not everybody's going to like them, but some people will like them and will resonate with them. And those are their people, which is the best thing, because I think that when some people look at the term legacy, it intimidates them because maybe they don't feel that they're at the level of success of previous family members or one side of the family. And they're like, wow, I'm holding all this weight. I'm comparing myself. They have a doctorate. I have this, or they didn't go to school. Like they have all these other skills. So they're doing the comparison thing. But if they focus on themselves and say, what skills or passion do I have? And how can I help others? Then they can flip it instead of trying to compare themselves to other family members, because then it kind of keeps them in a bubble. But definitely focusing on the who and seeing how they can show up to serve others, whether that's a service, whether that's a product, whether that's just an idea, or if they're the behind the scenes person that's just like, I just want to help, but I really don't want any spotlight. That's totally fine as well, because you can still make a massive impact without being on the forefront. So focusing on those things can really help. And then just reminding themselves that you're not for everyone and we aren't either, but the right people, your tribe will resonate with you.
So in there, how do you change that mentality? What steps could you take, encourage someone to change the mentality from feeling down and out, or that stress of that, because that can be stressful too, So how do you change the mentality from someone that feels though they have to live up to this, to now I want to take control over my life and find out who I am? How would you ask someone to change their mentality towards that?
Yeah, great question. So I like to start off with the individual with their daily routine. So we're not trying to grind 24/7, but I would look at the first hour of that individual's day. Do they make themselves proud? Do they wake up on the first alarm, or do they hit snooze 5 times? Do they wake up and actually get out of bed, or do they wake up and scroll for 30 minutes and they're like, oh shoot, I'm late. Now I got anxiety. Now I'm stressed. Now I'm annoyed. And I'm going to bring that energy into my team and into the workplace. So really harnessing their morning flow, so that way they feel way more proactive. And the main reason I focus on that, which seems like very basic and straightforward, but so many people, they're reactionary their first hour of every single morning. And that's why they're always so annoyed, on edge, stressed, ready for Friday to take the edge off, quote unquote. But it's because they don't feel like they have control of like the first couple minutes or hour of their day. And they're just getting pulled in every single direction. And they're like, can I just get 10 minutes to myself? Like kids, hold on, pets, clients, customers, whoever, like everybody just hold up. But a huge reason for that is they haven't worked on their own self for literally just 30 minutes. You could just wake up, go for a walk, have a healthy breakfast, have some you time, pray, meditate, whatever their thing is. But if they can do that 7 days a week, just to have minimum 30 minutes to themselves, to just get their states into a powerful state, and they just feel that they're ready for the day. So once the 20 emails, calls, texts. Once everybody needs them, they're like,
right.
all right, I already had some me time, so bring it on. Challenge accepted. I got this. But on the flip side, if they haven't had time to themselves, then they're like, oh my God, everybody in the world needs me right now.
Right.
Can I catch a moment? So looking at that, because if they have control of that morning, they're going to build their confidence and they say, wow, 2 weeks straight, I've been waking up at the exact same time. Maybe they wake up within a 20 to 60 minute time difference every day. It's like 6:30, 6:45, then 7:15, then 5:45. And their internal clock is all over the place. And they're just like, I don't know if I need sleep, caffeine, or whatever. And it's hard for them to really focus. So I would really dial in that morning routine and just choose two things. One thing for the body and one thing for the mind. So if they like going on walks in their neighborhood, wherever they are, they can do that. Take their dogs for a walk, their kids, or by themselves. If they love to weight train, head to the gym. If they like yoga, whatever their preference is, one for the body and one for the mind. For the mind, it could be prayer, it could be meditation, it could just be sitting and looking at their pets or their kids or whoever their loved ones are and just really take in and being present. But choosing one of each, because the intent is to build that energy in the morning and not have like 10 morning tasks and then like not do anything the rest of the day. Because some people that they have an amazing morning routine. They're like, I got this, and I got to have X amount of thing in my coffee cup. Then I do this, then I meditate, then I take a cold shower, then I ice plunge. And it's like, that's awesome. But how does the rest of your day look? And they're like, well, you know, and then they kind of lose that motivation. So harnessing that morning routine, the whole intent of it is to not let yourself down, to be that person that you're like, wow, I haven't missed in 2 months straight for themselves. And that person that's consistent, their confidence is up, their self-control is up, every positive trait internally is up. So when they show up for others, they show it with a different level of energy. And they're just like, man, I don't know what's different about her or him, but they're just like in the zone. And that's that individual that we should all like strive to be. So that way we can control it. So if that individual becomes a person like that, then they less likely will compare themselves to others, because there's like, here's historical data that I haven't missed for X amount of months or weeks. And that person feels unstoppable and they show up with a different level of energy where they're less likely to get as stressed. Life still happens, but they'll stay way more in control.
So one of the things that we did talk about, you know, being a legacy, right? And taking control of your own, you know, as you said, you know, your family background, right? So you have grown up all over the world, right? You know? So, and that could be a form of legacy, you know, but you've had the privilege of seeing other cultures, you know, things like that. So, but because of that, that can both be positive and negative, right? And so how do you get over, now, I don't want to go that route. What I would like for you to do is just explain a little bit of your background and why you're in this place today.
For sure. So growing up, both of my parents were poor, and they were the oldest of multiple siblings. So my dad, he had tons of brothers and sisters out in the country, small house, sleeping head to toe. And he was the oldest. So he was the father, he was the mother, he was the grandpa, he was everything to everyone.
Right.
And so like at 14, he was just doing it all. And same thing on my mom's side. My mother is the oldest as well, and she grew up poor, and she had multiple brothers and sisters, so she was the parent. So both of their mothers were at work, so somebody had to help the brothers, sisters, cousins, and everybody else, and that was them. So that work ethic was in their blood and their nature. And then from there, they got successful in their careers. But when I was the age of 11, that's when I noticed that there was a shift, that they started drinking a lot more and all that. And I never said anything to anybody because I didn't want to ruin their reputation.
Right.
But it would only happen at night. So between the hours of 9 p.m. to 1 a.m. And it would happen like 300 nights a year, where after the cookout, after the get-together, birthday party, whatever function they had or that we went to, they would come home, or the crowd would leave, the door would close, and then just like past things would just erupt. And that first year was just a culture shock because I had good grades. I was just like, play sports. And I was like, what is happening? And then by age 12, seeing that for a year, I said, you know what? When they're in that space, they're not actually looking at me or my sister. They're looking through us. So they essentially see somebody, something, have a backflash, like whatever happened in their past. And I never ask. but I knew that they had PTSD from multiple things. And so they would just lash out. And the very next morning was like, hey, what do you want to have for breakfast? Where do you want to go to dinner tonight? And as that teen, you're like, did you not realize what happened for 4 hours straight last night? Like, how did you forget that? Like, I'm still cleaning up glass in the kitchen. What are you talking about? But with that being said, is that upbringing just helped me to choose the path of harnessing the body and the mind.
Right.
So other friends that I have who went through similar things, they went down a violent path, drugs and alcohol. They repetitively did whatever was happening in the family tree. I wanted to go the opposite way and use it as fuel. And it wasn't easy by any means, but harnessing fitness first helped me a ton, because I was that skinny kid. I'm mixed. Living in the South, you're automatically light skinned, you're soft, you're this and that, like every preconceived notion everybody has. So like I had to prove myself. And so being that kid, weight training was and martial arts was the thing that my mind needed the most to get the confidence, because I was being bullied in the household. I was being bullied in school. And I just said, enough is enough. I have to harness my own energy and be confident within me. And then people will stop like testing me as much. And so I made a promise to myself to no longer give people the reaction that they expected. So some family members, holiday season's coming up, some family members, they know exactly what to say.
Yes, they do.
To get Maurice on edge. And you're like, why are you talking about 2008 right now? Like, can I just enjoy my turkey and pie? Like, oh my God. Like, ask me anything else. Everybody has a family member that just loves to just nudge for no reason at all. It's just like, you could feel the tension 5 minutes after everybody said hi. You're like, oh yeah, here goes Uncle Jimmy. He's about to talk that talk. So being able to not give him the energy or response that normally we would is very difficult. But once that person can do it repetitively, their confidence goes up. So it was honestly just the upbringing of family life, fitness, and then that is what guided me to help empower other people, because I love seeing people confident and proud of themselves. And so I wanted to give that to people. And I truly feel that everyone who's gone through a level of trauma, whatever that level of extent is, we have a gift. And once we're able to identify it and use it, we can use it for good. So I feel like my gift as a child was discernment, being able to read people's energy or a group and meet them where they're at, and then slowly build them up. Excuse me. It's definitely not easy at first, but the better you get at that, you realize that you're like, wow, we're calmer in situations that most people would stress in, because you're that kid getting stuff thrown at you, getting punched and thrown. Like, if you're that kid that's always like hyper aware, anything in life usually doesn't stress you as much, because you've seen worse things. So everything just came full circle with that regard. So home life got me into the fitness and my faith. And then I wanted to give that energy to others to help empower them with personal training. And then the older I got, I wanted to help people in a psychological way more, because I would see clients that were just fitness or performance based. And months or years later, they lost the results or progress after we worked together. But I told myself that I let them down because I didn't give them the mental tools that they needed to get rid of whatever they had, limiting beliefs, traumas, anger, vices, bad relationship with food, whatever that thing was. So being able to help people with that, they less likely go backwards, and just seeing them thrive. And that's why I always say, aim to break patterns and thrive and not just survive, because the person that can thrive, they just got rid of that stuff. They don't have that ball in their chest because they at least faced it, or it's still a work in progress. But that's what I do nowadays, is help people just get rid of those things, so they're not just good at one thing and they kind of wait till January 1st to focus on that other thing. And then that turns into next year, and after that, next year.
So in that, you know, because we're talking about legacy, right? Because you talk about your family background, right? You know, and trying to take control over your life. And so these are some things that we're speaking about are traits, if you will, of becoming a leader, right? You know, so what are these traits, or what are some other thoughts? Because some people may not consider that becoming a leader, or someone that is a better manager in whatever they have going on in their lives. So what are some common traits that you find as being a leader among other leaders too?
For sure. So I think the best leaders, they can control their state. So when stuff happens, yes, they might get angry. Yes, they might get annoyed, but they don't react on emotions. They'll pause for a second. They might have an initial thought, but they don't let it out yet. They just say, you know what? I already taught the team 15 times how to do this. Let me just zoom out and say, what did I not give you all? Can I show you something different to do in the CRM, with the programming, whatever the scenario is, but just pausing. And I've noticed growing up and also being in the military, like positive examples of leaders that did do that, and then the negative ones, the ones that would just pop off and we're always in drill sergeant mode. And that only lasts so long until the team kind of turns on you or stops listening. So definitely having emotional control, pausing and responding efficiently and effectively. And also with that, the leaders, male and females, they know how to push their pride and ego aside. Because the managers and bosses, they're full of pride and ego that somebody on the team might have an idea on how to make this workflow much smoother and less stressful. But if that boss or manager just has pride and ego, is like, no, we've always done it this way.
Right.
It's because they can't push that out of the way. But the one that does, they listen. They're like, wait, you've been here 2 months. Like, what idea do you have? We're open for it. And next thing you know, the whole process is smoother and everybody's like, oh my God, he found the solution. He feels good. His value went up. He's respected and appreciated. The boss or the manager feels good, and the whole team as a collective, their morale went up. So state management, number one, not allowing pride and ego to spill in. And last but not least is just being a good listener, actively listening. Because, you know, nowadays, like mid-conversation, somebody's just looking at their phone or zoned out.
Yes,
and you're just like, this is why I don't talk to any of y'all. Like, this is why I just ask fluff questions.
Right.
People don't pay attention. They're just like, oh, no. And you can tell they're elsewhere. And you're like talking about your passion. And you're like, you know what? That's why I keep it to myself. But good leaders can actively listen, because then they can sense the energy by body language, tonality of anybody on their team. They can say, you know what? I had this on the agenda today, but because I can tell he or she needs something else, they're not going to absorb this new information today. So today, I'm just going to let them release. Hey, I noticed that today's Monday. I noticed that a lot of y'all, it looks like you have a lot on your mind. Let's just do a round robin. What is one main thing that's been stressing you, whether that's personal, family, whatever you're comfortable to discuss? And going person by person, and slowly people begin to open up. The trust is there. And at the end, everybody's like, so we essentially all have like a woosah moment before we talk about the Monday meeting, the real topic. But good leaders, they can definitely identify that, opposed to saying, it's Monday, last Friday we didn't hit our numbers, blah, blah, blah. It's like, whoa, we just got here 5 minutes ago and you're ready tearing up the morale. Like, let's chill out for a second. Boost their morale up before you talk about numbers. But definitely those three things: the state management, asking good questions, being an active listener, and then also being open to hearing other people's skills, opinions, anything like that, by not having the pride and ego in the way.
Derick, man, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate all the information you've given, these tips. I will hope everyone has listened to those three things, because those three things will help you move forward, whether you're a career, in your career, you're 9 to 5, whether you're a CEO or upper management, it doesn't matter what it is, a parent, if you will. All those things work, in every aspect of your life. Derick, thank you very much for coming on today. Please share where people can find your information, where they can talk to you a little further.
For sure. So they can find me at fitwithderick.com. That's DERICK, the only right way to spell Derick. Or on social media is fitwithderick2. That's the number 2. My whole intent with social media is just to plant seeds. I'm that guy that's when you're going to hit snooze, you're going to think of the post that I made, and you're going to be like, you know what? Let me get my butt out of bed. That's my whole intent, is just to plant seeds. I just don't want to see people waste their potential. That's all it is.
Nice. Well, before I let you go, Derick, I'm going to ask you the question that I ask all my guests. My would you rather question. Would you rather choose a fork in the road or 3 doors? And it should be interesting with you being an Army guy. So which one would you choose, a fork in the road or 3 doors?
I would choose a fork in the road, because it's going to help you get creative and it's going to give you skills.
Okay.
The fork in the road, that's the test. That's the challenge. That's the thing that most people are avoiding. Like, they'll look for the detour. So just going through that challenge, because you're going to become better, and thinking long-term, always thinking long-term. So I'll put it this way. We all have a friend that always dodged stress. And nowadays it makes sense why he or she is where they're at. And we're not judging, but they just always dodged stress, that now they have way more stress than anybody in your friend circle. Because they always dodged tough situations. And the ones that faced it, they have way better stress control, and they're always more relaxed because they endured a lot of stuff, whether that's physical, mental, whatever it is, but just facing it head on.
Wow. Thanks, Derick. Thanks, man. You know, that was probably one of the more insightful, thoughts on this, my would you rather question. I appreciate it, man.
No problem, Maurice.
Derick, thank you very much for coming on. And everyone, continue to listen to That Will Never Work podcast.
Thanks for listening. Find us on social media at Chisholm Group LLC and check back weekly for new episodes. Until next time, that will never work, or will it?
Experiences are what people love the most about travel. That's why they love Viator. They have over 300,000 bookable experiences and something for everyone. Plus, their travel experiences have millions of real traveler reviews, so you have the information you need to book the best activities for your trip. Download the Viator app now and use code Viator10 for 10% off your first booking in the app. One app, over 300,000 travel experiences you'll remember. Do more with Viator.
Let's face it, most people aren't making massive turkey feasts on the regular, and after 364 days of not thinking about it, it can be hard to get that bird just right. That's where Instacart, the holiday rescue app, comes in. From getting all the ingredients to prep a full seasonal spread to getting last-minute swaps in a turkey emergency, Instacart has everything a holiday host needs to save face and save dinner. And right now, if you download Instacart, you get free delivery on your first 3 orders and delivery in as fast as 1 hour. Offer valid for a limited time. $10 minimum per order. Additional terms apply.